Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar Wednesday edition here at The Source. We'll get started. We're going to let you all come into the room. My name is Dominique Gamble, Program Manager of the Cook County Small Business Source. See the numbers. I'm going to wait till they're a little still and then we'll get started. Mercedes, you can let me know if what you're seeing as well. Looks a little solid.
Yeah, we have about a steady number, I would say now.
All right. Okay, welcome again, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at the Cook County Small Business Source. This is our webinar Wednesday edition where we host a webinar series on the last Wednesday of every month. So this month we're focusing on marketing. If you would like to join us again, come find us again next month on the last Wednesday every month. If you don't know the exact date, just remember the last Wednesday of the month. That's why I'm saying that, so it'll stick in your head. But real quick, I am the program manager of The Source. I am going to review just a few slides with you all just to give you a quick overview of who we are at The Source and the services that we provide. And then, I'll hand it over to Patrick, who works with Berwyn Development Corporation. They are one of our wonderful partners here of The Source who provides many resources to the small business community. They are great partners, and I'll let Patrick talk in a moment. But again, my name is Dominique Gamble. This is Cook County Small Business Source, and what we provide for you all are free, I did say free, small business resources to assist you in whatever your business needs are. So as you can see here on the screen, we provide free one-on-one business advising. You can scale our website for a number of plethora of free, we'll say like if you need templates, if you need a business plan, whatever that is, we have it up on the website for you if you just want to do something really quick. As you can see here, we have free events. Also, we have partners on our events page of our website that also offer free events. So you can peruse our website, go to the events page, and always keep up with what it is that we are offering as far as events, webinars, in-person events that you all can also access free of charge. And then we do also offer access to capital opportunities. We just had a grant that closed. I believe we closed it in last October. We just paid it out in February. However, we do still direct our small business clients to different access to capital opportunities. Some of our partners have access to capital opportunities. So again, we try to make sure that we meet all the needs of our small business community. Technically, we are here to assist you all with growing your business, elevating your business, taking it to the next level in whatever stage of business that you are in. So if you're a new business, come see us. You're a mid-sized business, come see us. You're a mom and pop that's been around for 20, 30 years, come see us. We will have the support that you need. Most of our partners have been working for over 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years doing this type of work. So we do have the best of the best in our small business partnership community. This is just a quick overview of the grant that we just closed and also awarded. We gave out $50 million to 3,000 businesses throughout Cook County. And initially that was a $40 million grant. We increased it by 25%. We saw that we had a higher need of applicants came in than we had initially anticipated. So President Pretwinkle really wanted to see what else we can offer for more businesses, and we got that extra 10 million. So 500 more businesses were able to take a part and be awarded out of that grant. Most of the awardees, all of the awardees, because within the small business source, we typically work with businesses that have 10 or less employees, but within the grant, we worked with those who we saw had 20 or fewer employees. This is just a brief overview of some of our testimonials of those who we helped. I like putting that in, just getting people happy. Let you think about some of the work that we can do here for you as well. One person said, this will give my business the oomph that it needs to grow and keep providing jobs. That is Miss Holly from a Fitness Social. Another person said, I can't thank you enough for this 2023 Source Grant. I'm beyond grateful and honored. The continued vision for my business can now finally get ahead. I'm especially grateful to the WBDC, who is also one of our partners, since I myself went through their 12-week business plan program for Jack Design back. He gave us all the information, 2011 to 2012. So much that I've learned about running a successful business came from that program. So this, I'm not going to read everything, but I just wanted to let you all see the great work that we're doing here at The Source. And if you are not already a partner with us or already in this Source family is what I call it, we would love to see how we can also assist you. Just a few metrics. So since the Source conception of 2020 is when we started this program, we're going on 3 years, we have distributed $67 million in grants. Funding to small businesses. We have assisted and served over 16,000 small businesses throughout Cook County. I think that is a phenomenal number, and we're still growing. So these were actually closed in 2023. So we have worked with more businesses in 2023 to now of April 2024. And we have assisted and reached out to 67,000 businesses. Now that would be through newsletters, door knocking, phone calls, webinars, events. That's how we touch you all and make sure that you all are getting the information. And as you can see here with our demographics, 35% of our small business owners are Black or identify as Black. We have 4% who identify as Asian, 29% stated they identify as Hispanic or Latino descent, and 15% identify as other or non-white. 6% identify as 2 or more races, and then we have 11% identify as white. So we are very diverse here with the work that we're doing within The Source, and we're very proud of the diversity level of the small business owners that we were working with, and we just continue to want to grow those numbers. So we're really trying to tap into other chambers and different small business communities that are even reached in the western suburbs of Cook County. So if you are a part of that, please reach out to us and see how we can assist you. This is just a quick, brief overview of our Source partners. The ones at the top, we call them business service partners. We call them BSOs, if you hear us say that. That statement are those who do the free one-on-one business advising with you all. You can schedule with them, sit down, they'll advise you, map out a plan, help you see what it is that your business need, where you are in that aspect. Right now we're doing marketing. We have it where they do taxes. We have it where you need a business plan. Like whatever area of assistance you need within your business, our partners are definitely capable of helping you in that moment, in that need. And I just wanted you all to get a brief overview. I do tell some people if you want to take a quick snapshot or a camera, get that so you would know who's working in your community. At the bottom, you see referral partners. The referral partners helped us get the word out through the grant cycle. These are local chamber of commerce, other small business community organizations throughout Cook County that a lot of people don't know are there. So that's why I kind of keep this slide up a little bit, just so you can kind of gauge and see who's there within your community that you can tap into. A lot of these organizations do work also with other local municipalities. They also work with local banks. So they also are your go-to if you have any small business needs or questions or things of that manner. So it's just good to know who's around us and what's available to us. They say we perish for lack of knowledge. So we're trying to make sure here at The Source that we're informing you and you have everything that you need. This is just a few of our impact stories really quick. We have Pink Panini. She's also a grant recipient, but she also came through The Source. She worked with one of the Southland Development partners that we have in the Southland area. Patrick, we have one of the Berwyn shop owners here. So this is Freedom Lee State of Mind. I went to her shop. It's amazing. Miss Maria Rodriguez. She actually is a Berwyn shop owner. If you are not up on the Berwyn shops that Berwyn does every year, please do come. They're having an opening. Patrick, when is it? It's May, is it 2nd? 3rd, May 3rd. It is beautiful. They have little she sheds that the women and small business owners do, and they're outside. You can go on the weekends. You can shop openly and freely. It's a cohort. They let them be there for 6 months, right, up until December. If they pass through the cohort and they want to move forward, then they put them in a brick and mortar. They assist them in getting the actual space. So it is amazing. Definitely assist, support local small businesses. And then also you have the Miss PSG free. She came through Chicago Minority Supplier. This is a gluten-free. She has a lot of different granola, like different products. So we're doing a lot. As you can see, Chicago Minority Supplier works kind of in the manufacturing realm of things. So we are kind of being well-rounded. We want to make sure that we can help all business needs. So exactly what I'm saying. And this is just a quick snapshot of some of the 3,000 of those who were awarded, who came to our event. We did a congratulatory event for the grant awardees, and these are some that came. So they're just saying they got the grant. We're saying we made an impact. We're trying to do great work here. And if you are on here and you are not a part of the source, but you would like to be a part of the source, please use that scan code. What you will do, it will take you directly to our sign up sheet. Sign up, put in your information. If when you're done, you want to work directly with Berwyn, put in a comment area you would like to work with Berwyn. Also put in a comment area exactly what your business issue is so we know how to assist you. And within 24, no later than 48 hours, which is 2 days, someone will be in contact with you to schedule you an appointment and get you here working with our little family. So with that, are there any questions quickly? If not, I'm going to pass it over to Patrick of Berwyn so he can start talking to you all on everything about marketing. And they are marketing gurus, so please take notes. Any questions? All right. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Patrick. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dominique. And yeah, as she was mentioning, the Berwyn shops and Project Homegrown is something that's really close to our hearts here. So I can touch on that a little bit throughout the presentation, and I'll actually use some examples from the shops to help with the presentation. But again, thank you, Dominique. And as Dominique was mentioning, I can't say enough about how much good work the source does. And honestly, as you'll find out, the source has actually helped me find and hone in my own passion for small businesses and helping them with marketing. So as was mentioned, my name is Patrick Greenacre. I'm the marketing manager here at the Berwyn Development Corporation. Today we're going to be talking about brand messaging and, more importantly, how to tell your story and why it's important to tell your story and how to share your story. So a little more information about myself. I'm a marketing nerd, always have been. I love everything marketing, from print to design to digital. As I mentioned, I'm also a huge small business advocate. I've really gotten the opportunity and a really unique opportunity for when I started my career in marketing. I started right at the tail end of traditional marketing, meaning print, flyer, door-to-door, door knocking, phone calls. And I've moved into now the digital world. This has given me the opportunity to work with big companies and small companies. I've worked with companies as small as a single booth in a hair salon, all the way up to a $10 to $15 million online e-commerce platform. I've started websites, I've maintained websites, I've built websites, I've started social media accounts, maintained social media accounts. And all that has really led me to the opportunity I've gotten here at the Berwyn Development Corporation, and really allowed me to hone my passion for small businesses through things like Project Homegrown, which is the Berwyn shops, Berwyn Sprout, and Berwyn Boutique, the source, and doing technical advising calls with marketing and small businesses. And the Chamber of Commerce here in Berwyn has really allowed me the opportunity to grow a lot. So let's get into talking a little bit about brand messaging. So the goal here is going to be to learn how to create a compelling story, how to share that story, and what to do after you tell that story. There's a lot of steps here, and we'll get into it. But first, let me start by telling you a little bit about my philosophy when it comes to marketing. Philosophy when it comes to marketing. I look at marketing as a fun game. And my goal in this game is to get people to look at the stuff I want them to look at, whether that's my website, whether that's my social media, whether that's an email blast, whether that's a print flyer. And then once I get people to look at that, my next goal is to always get people to come back to your own website. Once you have people on your website, you've removed them from doom scrolling on social media. You've removed them, you've given them a little break during their busy workday to go check out some cool story or a cool topic or something like that. And you've also allowed them an easier access to find your information on the internet and through search engine optimization and stuff like that. So really today I'm going to be focusing on social media, emails, and your website. But as we go through today, I really want everybody to think about sort of how we can tell our story and then how we get people back to our own website. So let's go through a little roadmap of what we'll be talking about today. So we're going to talk about how to discover your story, where to find it, how to get help producing it. We're going to talk about how to produce your story, how to produce a blog, where to put stuff on social media, how to share that information out. And then finally, in my opinion, the most important one here is going to be the evaluate and adapt section. So what I mean here is take a look at what you did. Let's take a look at how your social media resulted, how many people liked it, how many people engaged with it, how big was your reach, and then go ahead, make adjustments and evaluate what's going on. So let's get started with the discovery process of your story. So I've had a lot of TAs with small businesses. I've worked with a lot of small businesses. And one thing that hasn't changed from my traditional marketing world to the new digital marketing world are these two questions. And I always ask people, how does your product help your audience? And how do you connect with your audience? Now, the reason that these two things are most important to me is because I want to know what you do, why it's your passion, and then I want to know how we can share that passion best with your audience. So is your audience mainly online? Is your audience mainly people and visitors that come in your store? All of these have an impact on how you're going to move forward with your marketing. So let's talk about your story. So when you tell your story, your personal story, it's your business. You're a small business. Most people who are on this call and working with the source are small businesses, and they're not ran by giant corporations and things like that. So every decision you make is going to affect not only yourself, but your family, your business, and your customers. So if we take a look at some questions to ask yourself, why did you start your business? How has your business helped you? How has your business helped others? Why you are the best ambassador for your product, and what's your background? Each one of these questions can become a story and a piece of content and a long form or short form content that you're able to share online and share with your visitors. And the reason that I always try and get people to tell personal stories, and when I say personal, I'm not asking you to share your social security number, your date of birth, stuff like that, your personal story about your business. And the reason that this is important is because once your customers connect with you personally, they're going to become lifelong customers. And it's much easier to maintain a customer than it is to go out and get new customers. So these questions will help direct you into what story you should be telling. And then they'll also help direct you in ways to create new content. Now, the second part to telling your story is having other people help tell your story. So ask your customers to help tell your story. If you have a really regular customer who comes into your shop, you have a regular coffee customer who comes into your shop, their order every morning, you have it made for them by the time they come in, they would be great options to give you a testimonial or a quote. Testimonials and quotes do multiple things. But my favorite is that I can sit here and tell you all day how cool the Berwyn shops are. I can tell you how cool the BDC is. You don't want to hear it from me. So what Dominique did in the introduction by mentioning the shops and talking about how much she liked them, that's going to go a lot further with a customer than myself telling you it, because let's be honest, I work for for the BDC, and we facilitate the Berwyn shops, and people know that. So the more outside connections you can get to help sell your story and tell your story, the better your customers are going to connect with you. Another great option for others to help tell your stories are partnerships. I know that every single business has partnerships, whether it's a supplier, whether it's your neighbor who you've done events with, whether it's the person who provides the packaging for you. All of these partnerships can work, and these partnerships can work both ways. So they can go ahead and help share your content and share your story. At the same time, you can go ahead and share their content and share their stories. Coming back to the customer side of things, reviews are hugely important. Not only reviews, reviews can be found on Yelp, Google, Facebook, social media platforms. All of these places are great, and they give customers another opportunity to learn more about yourself, your business, and your product. And when we're trying to have other customers and other partners help tell that story, where's the best way for them to tell it? It's going to be via social media or word of mouth. So if you can get a customer who you talk to, that coffee customer who comes in every morning, and you can talk with them and they can go tell their friends about how cool your coffee shop is, how good your coffee is, how friendly the staff is, again, that's going to go significantly further as far as building more customers, expanding your reach, than you going out on the street corner and telling people, hey, come into my coffee shop, it's really good. And then social media is another way. It's just another way to do a digital word of mouth. So now let's take a look at who should know your story. This is a really interesting thing, and one spot that I think a lot of people and businesses forget to think about. As you're creating your story and you're sharing your content via your website or social media or emails, you think to yourself, man, I gotta get this social media post out. I told myself I was gonna get a social media post Monday. It's Monday at 4 o'clock. I wanna go home at 5. Let me get this out. You're just going to produce something quick without taking a step back and discovering who your customers are. You obviously know who your customers are. You talk to them on a daily basis. So go ahead and build a generic profile. If your customer is the college age male who comes in every day at 3 o'clock after class and gets coffee from you, that story, that message, the way you're going to share that information is going to be significantly different than, say, my mom, who is retired, 75 years old, loves her dog. That energy, that vibe that they're putting out is going to be different, and you need to make sure that the message you're sharing matches their vibe. Also, these customer profiles will help you know where to deliver your story. So again, let's take a look at the college student and my mom. So my mom spends a lot of time on Facebook, sends me pictures of pugs doing funny things, sends me pictures of my nieces and nephews, isn't really there trying to find the latest news necessarily or the most pertinent product information, where the 20-year-old college student is probably going to be more on TikTok, probably going to be a little bit more on Instagram. And we'll get into these a little bit more, but that message that's getting delivered on those platforms is going to make a change. Is going to have to sound different depending on what your customer profiles look like. And then you're going to hear me talk a lot about partnerships and collaborations. But partnerships and collaborations are great ways for others to know your story. So a good example would be, let's say you're a small restaurant, a mom and pop restaurant, you got several employees, but you work with a local farm who produces all of your produce. Partnering with them is great for you because you get really high quality produce from local, you're supporting local. But what it also does is that farm is going to have a circle of audience that's going to be different than your circle of audience. So it's going to be really cool for that farm to be like, hey, we produce these really great carrots, and here's what they look like in final preparation at this really cool restaurant. And they're going to share that out with their audience, and that audience is hopefully going to come over to your side as well. So partnerships and collaborations and sharing your story with your partners and collaborators is really going to help you move to the next level. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is who else outside of yourself and your direct partners can help you share your story, and what are the best way is to help share that story. So there's a lot of sources that are out there, whether it's local news, TV, radio, whether it's leaders in your community, aldermen, political officials that can help share your story, neighbors can help share your stories. These partnerships are things that should be grown and nurtured in order to really start expanding your reach and your audience. And then also when other people are promoting you, it helps build up your credibility. The higher your credibility it is, the more closely connected your customers are going to feel to you. So what's the best way to share your story with some of these outside sources? And I'm going to say, set your partners up to succeed. I can't emphasize this enough. What I mean by this is, it's one thing to go ahead and ask your neighbor who you're combining with, collaborating with, to do an event. Hey, neighbor, go ahead and post this out. And then if that's your final communication with them, you've really set them up to fail. They don't necessarily know when your event is. They don't know when the best time to come is. They don't know what the best supplies are or what you're selling. So go ahead, take the time and build out what we call toolkits. So toolkits can be a combination of a lot of things, but it's all the information that your partners are going to need to be able to better share your story. So whether this is information from a post, here's what the post is, or whether it's information on the event, here's the address of the event, here's the sponsors of the event, here's the specials that the event's going to have, here's the agenda of the event, all the way to images and videos, and even sometimes if you want to go as far as templates, giving your partners something that they can put their logo on to share out on their pages as well that has your co-branding with it. Really setting them up to succeed. And what you'll find is that you're going to get much better content produced by your partners and your collaborators if you offer these toolkits, because it makes it really easy for them to go ahead and share out a post. I know that every single person on this webinar has created a social media post, and the stress and the anxiety that produces. So if somebody else asks you to produce a post for them, that's even more stress and anxiety. So if somebody could hand me something every single day and say, hey, Patrick, here's your post for the day, I'm going to be in heaven. So that's what I mean by toolkits and setting up partners to succeed. And then also remembering that partnerships go both ways. So if you're asking your supplier of on the farm to share your information about your special event coming up, don't be afraid to offer them the opportunity to be in your e-blast for any events they have coming up. Don't be afraid to share some of their posts that they're producing showing their farm. Make sure that your partnerships are going both ways. And as you do that, you both will grow, your audiences will grow, and partnerships can lead into a lot more things. So now that we've figured out sort of what your story is and how to discover what your story is and who can share your story, let's truly get into the meat and potatoes and the scariest part of social media and telling your story, and that is producing the content for your story. The goal here is going to be able to create content that's engaging in the correct format, being delivered to the correct spots. So there's a lot that goes into this, whether it's the content type. What I mean by that is image versus video, blog posts versus short social media posts, quantity versus quality, and sort of judging and weighing the impact of what you're producing to make sure that it's working the best. So let's jump into thinking about a few of the high level what types of content there are. So there's written content, there's images, there's video, and there's audio content. Personally, I haven't done too much in audio, so I'm sort of going to leave that to the side. But let's get started with the written content. Written content can be used in multiple ways. It can be long form blog posts, 1,200 words with pretty pictures, links, everything going out. Or written content can be used for more technical information. Let's say you're an engineering firm and you specialize in concrete. Really letting people know what the strength of the concrete is, how long it takes to dry, what rough cost is per square foot. All of this is written content, and it's being delivered to people that want it in that form rather than, say, images. Images are great for telling a snapshot of a story, for telling a snapshot of a special event, for telling a snapshot of what your space, your retail shop looks like at that exact moment. And that's how images should be used. And again, all of the written content, the images, the video, all these can be used on multiple platforms, but there are some platforms that are better than others for each of these pieces of content. And then we got video. Everybody's familiar with TikTok, stories, reels, long form videos that would be found on YouTube. All of these individual things can come together and create a really great marketing mix, but making sure we're using them in the right way is really what's going to matter. And making sure that we're focusing on the quantity or the quality that each one of these need to produce. So when I say quantity versus quality or quality versus quantity, here's what I mean. Quality is well-produced and big impact. And this is going to take a little bit more time. This is going to take a little bit more effort, but it's really great for sharing your story. I have hundreds of stories to share via the TAs and Project Homegrown and the Chamber, but everybody always says, I'm the best at what I do, and here is why. And that is what you should be sharing. That is what your story should be telling. So actually, a great example would be what Dominique had mentioned in her intro with Maria from Freedomly State of Mind. Her backstory on why she started her company is really extremely heartwarming. It filled holes that she saw in the market for her children that she wanted to fill. And she jumped in and started creating products to help tell that story. And when I first started talking to her and getting into, why did you start your business? How did this go? Her passion for helping her children, her passion for helping her family quickly morphed into a passion to helping more families and helping more people that were facing these things. And that's the story that needs to be told. That connection that you can make with your customers that way, really, once again, going to make them lifelong customers. And not only are they going to become lifelong customers, but they're going to be some of your biggest advocates. And by advocate, I mean people that are going to go out and share your story and tell people how cool you are so you don't have to do it as much. This high quality content will usually be found on your main social feeds like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's always great as website content, and it falls into a marketing content category that I call evergreen. And what I mean by evergreen content is content that can be used at any time. So if you're going to have a sale next weekend, that's not evergreen content. That sale will come, that sale will go, and it'll be done. But your story, why you started your business, can be told in March, can be told in December, can be told on your website, could be told on social media platforms. It's evergreen. It's always there. Now, when I say evergreen content, don't think that you never have to go back and adjust it. We'll get back into that in a little bit later. But evergreen content is content that can be used at any point in time. Here's my product lines that I always have. Here's where I source my coffee from that will not change. That sort of information can be evergreen content and can be reused, and I'll get into reusing content very soon. Versus the quantity argument. Quantity is stuff that is quickly produced and technically has sort of a lower impact as far as your story goes. So these are quick messages. Thank you. Event reminders, event recaps. This is information that you can type up real quick. Hey, we had a really great event last weekend, had a huge turnout. Really want to thank all of our sponsors. Boom, here are all your sponsors. Quickly produce it, throw some pictures on that post from the event, and now you got a quantity argument for content. You can use these with stories and reels. Hey, again, your event recap. Click through these stories real fast to see how last weekend went, or click through these stories to see all of our upcoming events. Another great spot for the quantity content is going to be on your website, but more in some of those places as pop-ups. Hey, just so you know, we got an event coming next weekend. Be sure to register, that sort of stuff. Or, hey, we got this sale coming up. Sort of that one-off content, sales, specials, events, those sort of things really can get produced quickly, aren't going to need as much thought put into them as far as like, how's this going to impact my bigger story? It's just sort of an additional and an addendum to your major content. Now, as we're talking about this, one of the biggest things that I can suggest is to really help tell your story about how you have made an impact in your community, in your business community, with your customers. The impact that you share is going to have a much larger, it's going to retain your customers a lot more than just saying that you have a sale this weekend, come in and visit me. This is where you're able to pat yourself on the back. This is where you're able to share stories with your customers so they can help and be advocates for you. And this is where you're going to be able to celebrate the wins you have. And I don't just mean wins like, hey, I made the most amount of money this weekend I could, but when we get into the goal setting section, but let's say by the end of 3 months, you want to have 500 followers. You reach that goal, you blow it out of the water, now you got 650 followers. An awesome social media post along celebrating your wins would be, hey, we finally reached our goal of 500. We actually expanded on it, and now we're at 650 followers. None of this would have been able to happen without the support of our customers, our partners. Really want to give a big shout out to them. Hey, thank you all. And just a reminder, we got a special event coming up. This is ways to really celebrate wins and tie them back to what you want them to know about. And then the next biggest thing is going to be reviews. As a small business, your reviews can make or break you, and how you respond to those reviews can make or break you. Reviews are great places for your customers to go and check out what you have to offer, not told by you. So sometimes reviews are bad. And what I can always say there is make sure you have a plan in place to handle bad reviews. If you and your team know, hey, every Monday morning, we're going to go and take a look at all the reviews that we got over the weekend on Yelp. We're going to thank the people that did great ones, and we're going to address the ones that are bad, and have a process in place to address both situations. And one of the biggest things that I always tell businesses is don't be afraid to ask for reviews. Everybody on the internet nowadays is so excited to tell about a bad experience they had, how something didn't work, how the lighting was too dim in this restaurant. People are going to post that stuff all the time. But when it comes to great reviews, you're going to hear them from your customers in person, or you're going to get that review in an email when customers want to share it. And don't be afraid to say, hey, thanks for that great review. Would you mind going ahead and posting that or sharing some of the insight you shared on Google reviews or on our Facebook page or on our Yelp page? Don't be afraid to ask for the help. It really, really, truly does help in multiple ways. And I'll talk about reviews again and how they can help. So now that we've talked about knowing your story and how to set up your story, I'm going to get into a little bit of my apparently I did top 8 tips. I got a top 1,000 tips. If we want to sit down and somebody wants to sit down with me, I can go through a whole bunch more, but these are the most important ones that I've seen through my time. Start with the big story and break it down into smaller pieces. This will become really, really useful when you're producing that evergreen content. You take the time to write a 1,200 word blog post about your story and who you are and why you started your business. That's a lot of effort. You took the pictures. Those are a lot of effort as well. You put everything together on your website, even more effort. So let's go ahead and break down all of that effort into smaller pieces that can be used throughout the year as evergreen content. So another example would be, let's say you have a top 10 list. Here are the top 10 features of this. You can break that down individually and say, in a social media post, hey, did you know that the number 7 tip for this is this? To read the whole list, click here. And now you've directed them off social media and onto your website where they're looking at more of your stuff. Utilize outside resources and sources. And what I mean by this isn't necessarily go out and get videographers, go out and hire photographers. If you have the time and the budget and the resources to do that, go ahead. That's great. Let the experts do what the experts do. But when we're talking about experts, you also have experts within your organization. So let's take a look at a restaurant. A restaurant has a front of house manager typically, a general manager typically, and a chef. That front of house person may not know as much about the food as, say, the chef. So in this sort of situation, what I would say is create 3 or 4 questions for your chef. Create 3 or 4 questions for your front of house. Create 3 or 4 questions for your general manager. Ask them to answer those questions in a written format. Now what you've done is you don't have to go do as much research. You have a very personal, direct connection, and it's sort of a templated, easier way to move forward with your content. And you can turn those questions into social media content that helps tell your story about your brand. I had mentioned tools and templates. Make sure you're using the right tools that make the most sense for you. If you're not wildly familiar with the Adobe suite, go into Canva. Canva is absolutely amazing. Canva gives you pre-made templates to help you with. Canva makes it really easy to drop fonts in. Canva gives you templates to sort of get your brain flowing so you don't have to break down that creativity wall. You got them right there in front of you. Tip number 4 is going to be see the forest through the trees. This really just means take a step back and look at the big picture. Take a look at how your social media posts support your emails, and that support your blog posts, and then support your website and final sales and final goals. So be sure to not focus just, oh man, it's Friday at 4 o'clock, I gotta get that post out. Step back and see how that post can work. This goes into the idea also then to be realistic. If you know you're at your restaurant 70 hours a week and you're helping cook in the back and you're helping seat people and you're running the books and you're running payroll, this doesn't really leave you a lot of time realistically to go ahead and be on a every single day social media post. It's okay to step back, create some higher quality content that is, say, 3 times a week or once a week. Just be realistic with yourself, because once you're consistently posting and being realistic, you'll be able to learn some more tips and tricks on how to create content faster. And maybe one day you can get to your goal of having a social media post once a day or a new blog post once a week. But just be realistic with yourself so you're not setting yourself up to fail. Real fast, I'll touch on engagement. Don't be afraid to ask your followers and your social media users to engage with your content. This will only help in multiple ways. It'll expand your reach. It'll get people looking at your post. It'll show that people like your post. And then these last two are probably the most important. So along with being realistic, set the time aside to do this. So if you know that you can set an hour a week aside to write content and produce, whether it's social media or whether it's to produce blog posts, make sure you're setting that time aside and you actually use that time. If you're 4 o'clock on Monday and you need to get that post out, it may take you 40 minutes, 20 minutes to go ahead and get that singular post out. Where if you set the time aside to create multiple posts at once, you're going to be in the mindset of writing social media posts. You're going to be in the mindset of getting that blog written with less interruptions, less outside noise, and you're going to be able to produce what may have taken you 20 minutes immediately before. It maybe takes 10 minutes to now produce that post, allowing you to produce a lot more posts and a lot more information quickly. And then finally, have fun. The reason you started this business is because you probably saw a need or you had a passion that you wanted to take further. And when you start to have fun with your social media posts, that's then going to distribute into and represent in your social media posts. And then it's going to get to your audience and your customers, and they're going to start having fun as well. And the more fun that you can have, the better off you're going to be. So now let's get into some of the more tough stuff, which is sharing. I see my time. I'm going to have to go through a little bit quickly, but what we're going to go through here is the roadmap to sharing content efficiently, how, what, and where to share your information. So first off, what I mean by roadmap is think of the path that your customers are going to take to get them to your website in the long run, whether that's a post that you share about an event. If you got an event, so for example, we just hosted our mini golf pub crawl, we got information about the event, we got information who's taking part in the event, and then I repeat again, hey, the event's April 20th, registration starts at 11, here's the link to register, here's where the information's at, here's where to get your content. So my goal here is to share high-level information and to get people to our website to register. Now, you'll also notice that there's a lot of tags inside this post. The reason for this is, again, setting up our partners. Everybody that you see in blue there are people that have partnered with us for this pub crawl. They want to share this information out. They want the pub crawl to be successful as well. So once I tag them in the post, they're going to get a notification and hopefully they share it out. And then it goes to their audience as well. So think about the path you want your audience to take, whether it's to get them to the blog post to read more about your information, whether it's to get them to buy products. A lot of people have online stores. So if you're going to post really cool pictures of a new product line you have, make sure you have a link to that new product line in your social media post. I know it seems silly and simple, but a lot of people do forget this. So the last thing you want to do is get somebody really excited about a social media post you worked really hard on, and then they scroll to the next one really fast because you didn't give them a place to go next. So, and then make sure that place matches what they're looking at. If my link here is wrong and I'm linking this pub crawl post to, say, my car show, people are going to be annoyed and not want to look at my post moving forward. So make sure that all that stuff is working. Biggest question I always get, how do I find the time or have the time to make content? And this goes back to what I was saying before, planning, using outside sources versus internal sources, using updates on your social media posts, and then again, reuse, reuse, reuse. I can't emphasize how important that is. If you spend the time and the energy and the money to go ahead and produce a 3-minute video about your latest dish that your restaurant's putting out, don't be afraid to cut that video up into shorter 15, 20-second posts that can then be used on TikTok, that can be used on Facebook Reels, that can be used in all sorts of different places, but you're using it all from one source. So now you're getting multiple uses out of one thing. Same thing with blog posts. You got 1,200 words. You can share out those 1,200 words multiple times throughout the year. Next, make sure you're planning out ahead. Make sure that if you're gonna produce evergreen content for your blog post, go ahead and plan out. Okay, I'm gonna post once this month. I'm gonna post twice next month. I'm gonna post 3 times over the next 3 months after that, and go ahead, write that content. If you got the ability to schedule that content, schedule it out. There's nothing better than looking at your week moving forward and knowing that you already have content produced and made. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what is your story, how to share that story, what that story is, and where to share that story. I'm going to get on a little bit of a soapbox here, but even as digital marketing has changed over time, we're actually entering a new world of digital marketing, and especially on social media. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people who are getting frustrated with the algorithms of social media that Facebook is feeding your customers, that Facebook and Instagram are feeding your customers. And what people are doing is starting to utilize social media platforms in a different way. And one really clear example of this is going to be Instagram. So no longer are people just scrolling through the algorithm that Instagram is supplying them. What they're doing is using Instagram as a way to get into smaller groups with people that they know, that they trust, whether it's friends and family or other business partners or other leaders or people in their industry. And these silos are quickly shutting off. And the only way to get into these silos of these smaller groups is to create content that somebody within that silo is going to want to share. So again, it goes back to the quality. Producing high quality content that is truthful, accurate, very clear path is going to get you into these silos a little bit more, and that's going to expand your reach and your audience. Connecting your stories with partners, connecting your story with leaders. I don't just mean leaders in your industry, but it could be leaders within your community. It can be business leaders within your area. It can be leaders at different businesses. And as you start to produce this content that those leaders are liking, they're going to go and share the content that is on your platforms. So utilizing your platforms, again, making sure your social media posts make sense, making sure that your social media posts are accurate and clear and sending people to the right places. This is how you're really going to share better. Now, what to share? Deliver the correct content to the correct areas. So again, if we look at that work from big to small, your biggest content is going to be hosted on your website. Your website should answer any single question that a user has. Next biggest area to share is going to be via your email. Email is a point of time where you got somebody, they open it up, they're taking the time to see what you have to say. So go ahead and share a little bit more information than you would say on social media. Where on social media, it's a relatively passive activity. So you want to get something that's going to get people's attention quickly, whether that's a great caption or a content in your social media post, whether that's great images, whether that's a really high quality, quick video. And that's the information you're going to share via social media. And then again, deliver the content to the correct sources. Really here, if we go back and take a look at that example of the college age male student versus the 75-year-old grandma of 8, they're using social media for different reasons. So Facebook, if you take a look at Facebook, Facebook is a great place for families and friends to connect again. Instagram is a great place to show your artistic ability, show really engaging artsy images and getting people connected with your brand that way. And LinkedIn is a great place to show people why you're an expert. So if you get highlighted in a webinar, for example, I may go on my LinkedIn and share the link to this webinar once it's recorded and share it out with my network to show people that, hey, I'm doing some cool stuff. I'm proud of what I'm doing. Go ahead and take a look at what I've done. And then making sure that you're sharing the right type of content to the right places. Facebook and Instagram are not places to share long form content, long form written content. Nobody wants to take the time to stop and read 7, 8 paragraphs on a social media post. They actually make that obvious themselves by limiting the number of characters you can actually put into those. Versus LinkedIn is a great place to share more of that long form stuff. Instagram is truly designed to display pictures and videos of better. Sorry, I'm cruising through things a little bit quickly, but now let's get into the evaluating and adapting what you've learned. Most important part to me about evaluating what you've done is setting your own goals. Know what your goals are. Make sure your goals are relevant to you. If you're an online e-commerce shop, you don't need to know how many people attended an in-person event because you're online. Or vice versa, if you're a nonprofit organization, you really want to know how many people attended your event. So make sure your goals are relevant. Make sure you set your goals long-term versus short-term. What I mean by long-term would be something along the lines of, hey, in 6 months, I want to have 500 new followers on social media. Where short-term would be, hey, I got the sale this weekend and I really want to double my sales from the weekend before. So setting those goals. And then again, making sure that your goals are realistic. If you're a brand new business and you don't even have a social media account, you barely have a website, and you just started, it's not realistic to think you're going to get 1 million followers in 1 year. But it is realistic to think, hey, maybe in that first month I can gain 100 followers, or maybe in that first month I can gain 15 followers. Just look at your industry and your customers and make sure what is there is realistic. And then define what you consider as success. Successes can be anything from I made the amount of money that I wanted to make, or I was told by a specific customer that I was doing a great job. So really setting those goals and defining that success is really going to help you move forward. Now, how to track your goals and track what you've done. There's a lot of ways to track, and everybody has seen it. And unfortunately, I can't get into all the nitty gritty here, but things that you can track is engagement. How many people liked your post? How many people shared your post? You can track followers. You can track website data. How many people visited your website? How many people stayed on your website for how long? You can track sales and you can track likes and shares. The really big level to take away from here is making sure that you're tracking stuff that makes sense for your organization. And then how to track. Clean data in means clean data out. And what I mean by this is making sure that you're comparing apples to apples and making sure that, an example here would be a social media post that is a month old is going to have significantly different engagement than a social media post that's a week old, and making sure that you're tracking the right data. And then everybody knows of all the helpful tools that exist via social media, Meta, Google Analytics, and then using some form to make a dashboard. And then there are some outside resources that you have to pay for, i.e. Hootsuite, Sprout Social, and HubSpot. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at reviewing your data. This is where you get the opportunity to discover why. You get the opportunity to discover what worked for your organization and what social media posts didn't work. You get to discover why you did or did not reach your goals. And then in the long run, it gives you the opportunity to really, truly pinpoint what you need to change moving forward in your social media. Yeah, so let me really quickly just do a recap and leave a few minutes for questions, but discover what your story is all about. Take the time, think about it, ask yourself the questions, ask your employees questions about what makes your organization awesome. Take the time to produce the content that's going to be engaging in the correct format and then getting delivered, shared to the right places, making sure that your message is getting to the right people and the right audience efficiently. And then evaluate and adapt. Set your goals. review your data against those goals, and adapt what needs to for future social media or blog posts or videos that you need to adapt. Sorry, I know I rushed through a whole bunch of that right at the end. I really appreciate you guys. And I think we got a couple minutes for questions.
Yeah, I definitely think we can accommodate a few minutes worth of questions if anyone has them. Right now, the Q&A is pretty empty, but if anyone wants to raise their hand, we can have you come off mute and ask any questions if you have them. Patrick, also, how would someone reach out to you if they had any questions following this presentation?
Sure. Yep, I didn't put that on that slide, so that's a nice gentle reminder push. So again, my name is Patrick Greenacre. I'm the marketing manager at the BDC. My email address is patrickg@berwyn.net. And then you can go ahead and call our office at 708-788-8100.
I don't see any further questions. So I think we're okay to wrap it up.
Yes, and I'll just say thank you so much, Patrick, for this wonderful webinar. You did a great job, plethora of information. I think you're just leaving everyone at awe because you gave us so much to chew on. It was really great. I was over here taking notes myself, but I'm just going to piggyback off a few things that I heard Patrick state. I used to be a serial entrepreneur in my past working before I started on this journey. And one thing that I will hone in on what Patrick stated when he first started is word of mouth is really can be one of your biggest assets to advertising and marketing your business. I know every single business that I started, and I had about 4 or 5 of them, I actually gained the most clientele through word of mouth. And I ended up getting some really big name clients because people's voice carries weight. So in that, I will state, just make sure, think about how you're using your voice, even when it's your time, and you want to say something about someone's business or you want to make a comment on social media. Just think about how you're using your voice. Think about yourself as a small business owner. You know, how would you like someone to come and have those conversations with you? Let's just be mindful in that. So that means customer service is your number one key mechanism to gaining great clientele, keeping them in the door and bringing in more. And I'm saying that because I know I hear all of the complaints now how customer service is going down. I'm sure everyone is kind of hearing that now, but we really have to keep that in line with customer service. And then I will also state one thing that I noticed, because I used to be a small business strategist on my own as a consultant. The one thing that I noticed that small business owners do not put money in but should is marketing. Marketing gets your name out. Marketing gets your brand out. Marketing gets you in front of those new clients that you've never seen before. And now that we have social media marketing the way that it is now, all these platforms where you can do this for little of nothing, there's really no reason that you cannot market your business. So I hope you all took a lot of great notes listening to Patrick. He gave a lot of great key information and details for you all to chew on and take back and utilize to help grow and take your business to the next level. Please don't sleep on marketing. You need marketing to stay in this business, and you need marketing to grow and take your business to the next level. So we thank you all for joining us. We'll try one more time and see if we have any questions. If not, we will close the webinar and ask that you join us next month when we're doing business planning one-on-one. Mercedes, do we have any? I think I see one. Do we have a question in the chat?
I don't see any questions. I know Allie put up Patrick's contact information. So that's up there. And then just for a gentle reminder, we also upload all of our webinar Wednesdays along with some other cool things from the source on our YouTube channel. So you all are welcome to tune back in and watch over this wonderful presentation from Patrick and the Berwyn team again. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you all. And again, if you would like to become a part of the Small Business Source, please check us out on our website. You can fill out a form and or utilize that scan code that I had up. We would love to work with you and see how we can help grow and take your business to the next level as well. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Oops, it's not Friday.
Whoa!
Wednesday.
Thank you guys.
Wishful thinking. Thank you all. Bye.